Do you have one of the newer Indian Roadmaster Classics or a 2018 and older Indian Chieftain with a round style speaker bags and wanted to upgrade your 6.5s only to come and find out that Indian did something really goofy with the grill and now you're left with not being able to just put your speaker in? Well, here at Davidson Audio, we solved that problem. So these right here are our Davidson Audio 3D printed 6.5-inch speaker adapter rings. And what these are going to allow you to do, which I will show you with installing them on this customer's bike, the OEM lids on the classic body styles, that's going to be, like I said, your Roadmasters, your Roadmaster Classics, and the 2018 and previous models where, like you see here, the more rounded lid and then the grill has a tweeter mounted in it and everything. What Indian did on that is the grill itself has 5 studs, threaded studs, that go through the lid, and then from the back side their OEM speakers have those 5 holes where you can put the speaker through those threads and utilize 5 bolts to hold the speaker in. Well, this poses an issue if you're trying to put a newer 6.5 in there, any aftermarket one, because you can't just put it in there. You'd either A, have to drill all those holes, which I would not recommend because you're drilling it through the metal, through the surround. That surround all the way around the speaker is where the surround of the cone itself is adhered to that lip. So drilling through that, it's also going to weaken the surround adhesive all the way around, which could cause the mid on it to separate. So what we decided to do is we've gone through a couple of revisions of this ring, and we finally have one 3D printed that I'm happy with. So as you can see, there's 5 countersunk holes right here, and what those are going to do is they're going to orient with the grill speaker hole or grills themselves. So this will bolt in like this. When you tighten down the 5 studs here, what'll happen is the stud itself will sit a little bit higher than our spacer. So you'll just use a tool and cut that off, so that way it's below our speaker gas or adapter here. And then you can see we have 4 stainless steel screws here, because what we did is this is the bolt pattern for aftermarket 6.5s. We put heated threaded inserts in here. These are brass. They are melted into the plastic, and then you just take your screw and simply thread it in there. Do your little pattern, across from each other, tighten your speaker down, and you're good to go. But because we like to go over the top, we also printed this cool little blank to mimic the tweeter, because what we found is we did this before in the past on the Blue Chieftain that we did forever ago, which is going to come back here. We're going to change them out to these. And we pulled the tweeter, OEM tweeter, out of the grill. And when we did that, it left an opening there, and I didn't like it because they don't have a mesh material over it. It's just got a couple of pieces of bus on it. So we designed this so you take your OEM tweeter out, this sits in there, and then the bracket sits right behind it and holds it in there. And it actually looks really nice. It gives you an appearance that there is a tweeter there when there isn't. So for us, it just took it to that next level where it gives a nice clean OEM look to where nobody would be the wiser. You'd look at them like, oh, okay, that's the OEM speakers in there, and then come to find out they're not. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you the process of installing this ring on here, get the speaker put back on it, and then show you what it looks like overall. All right, to start, we're going to discuss the tools that you're going to need for this. Just a couple common tools: Phillips screwdriver, 2.5 millimeter Allen, and a 7mm socket to take the factory bolts off, and then you'll need something to cut the bolts, whether that's an oscillating tool or small bolt cutters or something. So let's start by here. Unfortunately, we don't have one that hasn't been touched yet. These are all modified ones already, but concept's still the same. So where my speaker spacer ring is, imagine that's the OEM speaker. So the OEM speaker will be here, and then you'll have the 5 bolts, studs with the nuts on the backside holding it together. So what you're going to do is disconnect the wires and everything from it, take these 5 nuts off, and then we're going to separate the speaker and the grill from the lid. So at this point, you would remove your speaker from the bike, and you would just set that aside because we wouldn't use it again. And then you're going to push your grill through the lid, and then that would leave us with this. Now, here you would have your tweeter in here. Your wiring would run right underneath this brace out here and then out this way. There's some like butyl or something holding this in here. So what we'll do first is we're just going to take these 2 screws out, remove the holding bracket, and then this is where you would take that OEM tweeter, you could pull it out, pull on the wire, and it will all come out as one piece. We're not going to be using it, so you'll be able to discard it later. But this is where our little blank, like I said, this is kind of a blank tweeter. There's a tab here and over here, so what you're going to do is you're just going to drop this in there, let it orient, it'll find its way in there, and then you're going to take this little bracket, put it right back on here as OEM intended. There's a locking tab there, and reinstall the 2 screws. And now it's ready for us to reinstall the grill back in the lid. Complete just the opposite order. Just make sure you line up the 5 bolt holes for the grill. That'll push right through there. Before we go installing our speaker adapter ring on here, you're going to have these little tabs right here all the way around. You're going to want to cut those completely off flat. So you're just going to, they're super soft, so you just got to take them. You just don't want those in the way when you're trying to get your adapter in here. So with those clipped, we've got our surface area that we need now. Let's go ahead and get this put on there. So you're going to have 5 recesses to orient to these 5 studs. So you're just going to take them on here, line them all up. There's a little bit of a stretch to the plastic. That is fine. You're going to seat it on there just like that. Then you're just going to loosely put all of your bolts on. All right, so I tightened all those up. Biggest thing I want to say is don't go like He-manning them in there with like a ratchet or He-womaning them with a ratchet. Just something like this, even a nut driver, like I said, 7mm, just snug them up. Doesn't need to be ridiculously tight. And then at this point is where you could cut these studs flat to make sure that they don't contact the speaker. The other thing I would say you could probably do is take 2 of these nuts and run them down per stud without this ring on here, so straight to the back of the lid. And then that should give you the correct gapping that you need, length for this stud. So that way you put one nut, and then just cut it flush at the top of that other nut. Or if you want to go a little bit further, you know, just above it. That way you're not cutting into the speaker spacer ring itself. So let's go get the speaker and our 4 included stainless steel hardware and get that snugged in. Now this is going to come down to just where you want your orientation of the speaker. For us, we want it facing, the terminals facing this way because that's where we have our wire. So we're going to take our 4 OEM screw points and screw this in. And just like that, we're all hooked up and we're all finished. Again, on these 4, you don't need to go super crazy tight with them. You don't have to like wrench them all the way in there, bend this around on the speaker. Just get them really good and tight there, and then that's it. And close your lid, and that's it. Well, we took you through the process of installing our new product here. Again, this is going to be for the Indian Roadmaster Classic body style and the 2018 and previous Chieftains and Roadmasters that have the rounded style bags with the 6.5. This is going to be a speaker adapter ring that's going to allow you to bolt this in there and give you the proper bolt pattern for aftermarket 6.5-inch speakers, and then also a little tweeter blank to help fill it in and make it look OEM as possible. So it's just one of the many products that we're consistently working on for these motorcycles. So I hope that this video was informative, shows you what this product is, the application for it, and helps you make the decision if this is a product that you need for your audio package. I know when it comes to our audio packages for the previous year bikes, when we make those available, this is going to be in all of them to help you all install your package easier. So with that being said, I'm Brandon with Davidson Audio, located here in Panama City, Florida.